the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. As usual, let us start with the snippets. The very first one, a regulator tells firms to recall 49 drugs. It goes with the pharma industry and regulator, the one who looks after quality control, tells firms. When you see the word firms, good morning, Balram. When you see the word firm, there are two different meanings. One meaning here, based on this context, firm means a company, an organization. The other meaning, I'm very firm on that, means I'm very serious about that and I stick to my stand. Then I say firm stand, means I don't want to change my stand. Two different meanings. 3 journalists among 41 killed in attacks. Israeli strikes, 3 journalists among 41 killed in attacks. We have already got, good morning, Murthy, Vishnu, all these guys, Usha also. We have got this word many a time. So what is the actual, why should you focus on that? First you have to think of between, among, between two persons or two things, among, more than two. You should also recollect, among and amongst. What is the difference? If the word after the preposition begins with a vowel sound or a vowel letter, then we have to use amongst. That you have to recollect. Good morning to all of you once again. Stock indices plunge to 2.5-month low. There are two important words from the exam point of view. One is indices. Index is singular. Plural can be indices or indexes. Matrix, matrices, like that. And what is the other word here? Plunge. Plunge literally means to dive down quickly. But here plunge means to go down quickly. The prices are plunged, means went down. Dive into, that is a literal meaning. A farewell, a death, and a political row. A suicide sparks a rage, becomes a poll issue. Farewell. When you join in the college at the beginning of the academic year, one function, inaugural function, welcoming the juniors. At the fag end of the academic year, farewell function, saying goodbye to the seniors. But here, a farewell, a death, and a political row. We got the word row many a time. A row means what? An argument, a dispute, a conflict. All these negative words you have to think of. And spark. Spark has two different meanings. Diwali is fast approaching, sparklers. It goes with fire. But spark also means to ignite, to start, to initiate, to provoke, all these. Here it is like provoke, ignite, incite, all these words. A spark what? A rage. Rage means anger. But you should also recollect the word raze, R-A-Z-E. So what does it mean? Z-E. A raze means to demolish, to destroy. That goes with a building. Exactly. What is the main headline? A beautiful pic. India, China to take up coordinated patrolling. An important word. What is the word important here? Patrolling. Petrol is different. P-E-T-R-O-L. We all know fossil fuel. But here patrolling means to go around to make sure everything is perfect, no criminal activities are going on. That is known as patrolling. And spelling, you got to be careful. Take up coordinated means together, they want to work on that together. Exactly, very good, Pawan. We have not that important. It is unclear if buffer zones will continue. Buffer zones means you have some part of that this side, part of that side also. We call that belonging to both the areas. Then we say buffer zone. Not exclusive. You have to think of the word. Buffer means not exclusive. ISRO DBT Inc. deal to conduct experiments. Inc. deal means what? To go in for an agreement. Inc. deal. They could have written went in for an agreement or a deal. But Inc. deal, a better way of expressing the same idea. And here we have an important word, conduct experiments. Here conduct is a verb, but the same word can also be an adjective. Then the pronunciation changes. We have to say conduct. Conduct certificate means what? Behavior. That you have to recollect. And we have a picture that shows a devastating impact of the cyclone in the cyclone's wake. Generally we say in the wake of cyclone. You can also think of the word advent of cyclone. Means when cyclone happened. Advent of cyclone, wake of cyclone, in the cyclone's wake. They have used a possessive case. NDRF personnel, again we have got personal matter, PERSONAL, personnel means employees of a company or an organization. NDRF personnel clearing uprooted trees. Uprooted. The tree, because of strong winds, comes out of the ground, buffering. Wait for a few seconds. Now it is okay, I suppose. Over. Police personnel, very good. And I'm talking about uprooted trees. Uprooted trees means what? Tree coming out of the ground with roots, then uprooted at some place. Other words are rather easy. 2 soldiers, 2 porters killed in Jammu and Kashmir, operation on. Prime Minister Modi discusses Gaza-Ukraine conflicts with German Chancellor. Easy words. Supreme Court to examine plea to do away with VIP treatment in temples. Plea, request, urge, appeal, all these words you have to think of. Supreme Court to examine, plea to do away with, an important expression. We have decided to do away with plastic bags. Means what? Stop using plastic bags or get rid of. Do away with something, stop doing that. This context talks about the Supreme Court is going to examine to do away with, based on a particular request, do away with VIP treatment in temples. Temple, everyone has to be the same, and no special privileges should be given based on that. Harvinder Kalyan elected Speaker of Haryana Assembly. Congress, BJP named candidates for Gujarat Assembly by poll. All political news. We have a pic over here, looks like protest. Farmers blocked the national and state highways across Punjab as a mark of protest. See, there's one word here. Let me see the headline. AAP BJP trade charges as Punjab farmers block roads over tardy paddy purchase. Tardy is an important word. Tardy means what? Slow, very slow or late. Tardy is an important word. Slow or not tardy. Tardy means slow, late. Very slow. Tardy paddy purchase means slow or late. Madras High Court quashes defamation plaint against Tamil Nadu Speaker. Legal come political. UP links performance of DMs commissioners to investment generated in their districts. BJP's Tandal, Congress's Jatinder Kaur filed papers for Punjab by-elections. Varanasi court rejects plea for additional ASI survey of entire Gyanvapi mosque premises. That is related to culture. That's all. It's already 10 past 9. Let me go to the editorial. Today's editorial, rather international. A few words are there, a few idioms are there. What is this about? To provide the backdrop information, this is about the US presidential election going to happen on November 5th, fast approaching, and the 2 candidates on behalf of Democrats, Kamala Harris, on behalf of incumbent Vice President, on behalf of Republicans, Donald Trump, former President of the US. Today, not the regular format. Sometimes it happens. What happened to structure? You're questioning the master or you're trying to find out what happened? Sometimes based on based on our priorities, based on the time factor, we may present differently. You have to accept that. Today, not the regular format, a different format. Try to learn. Format is not important. Sometimes it happens. Do remember, every day is not Sunday. And don't question the faculty. That is not a good thing. Neck and neck. Usually we say neck to neck. What do we say? Neck to neck competition. But what do you see here? Neck and neck competition. That means close competition, very close competition we say. The race is neck to neck, means very close. Neck and neck, what is this about? Trump and Harris offer US voters vastly different choices. Vast means range, it talks about the range. Head to head also you can say. Who is that? Lakshman. And what exactly do they offer? Different choices. Democrats focus on certain things, Republicans focus on certain things. Obviously, they cannot be the same. They offer the Americans different choices. But how does it go? Who has got better chances? With less than 2 weeks before voting day in the 2024 US election, no clear winner has emerged in the contest between Democrat and incumbent Vice President Kamala Harris and Republican and former President Donald Trump. Two candidates who could not be more mutually differentiated in terms of values, profiles, and public personas. There's one word here. Persona. Persona means not no, na. Persona means the character that goes with a person, the personality factor. In a nutshell, persona means the qualities, the traits one perceives in one's personality. For that, we also say the personality factor. The sentence is a lengthy sentence, but what does it talk about and what is it about in a nutshell? It is about the two candidates who are contesting. One is a Democratic candidate and incumbent vice president. Incumbent we have got so many times. What does it mean? Someone in power. Incumbent vice president, Democratic candidate Kamala Harris, and the other one, former US President Donald Trump, representing the Republicans. And the sentence is not too many differences. Two candidates who could not be more mutually differentiated. It is very difficult to differentiate the lead or the margin or the difference when it comes to who is going to win, who is not going to win. And also, it is not that clear in terms of values, profiles, and public personas. That means the personality factors. Averages of national, it talks about, this is all about who has got the chances, basically. And how do they decide who has got the chances to become the next US president? Based on the surveys. And surveys, if you take the backdrop, to provide the backdrop information, US 50 states. And what is the capital? Washington, D.C. Not Washington. Washington is one of the 50 states of the USA. It is one of the western, it is on the west coast. And Washington, D.C. D.C. means District of Columbia. That is the capital. Coming to, if I have to provide the backdrop information, some states belong to Democrats, some states belong to Republicans, but in the US there are a few states, about 6 to 7 states. They are known as the swing states. Swing states. And what are these swing states? They may go this side or that side. They may go in favor of Democrats or they may go in favor of Republicans. But the swing states are the deciding states. They decide who is going to be the president. It's all about that. The editorial has to provide us with the statistical data based on the surveys. Averages of national polls suggest that Ms. Harris, here you have to pronounce it like, imagine the spelling is MEZZ. How do you pronounce Ms? Miss is one thing, Mrs. married, not married, Miss, but irrespective of the marital status, you can use a word MS. It means Ms, either married or not married. Averages of national polls suggest that Ms. Harris has a slender lead. Slender means a slight, not substantial. Slender lead of around 1.7%, that is negligible, with close to 48.1% of the results favoring her relative to Mr. Trump's 46.4. Similarly, in 7 key swing states, which could end up having a decisive impact on the outcome of voting in the Electoral College, Mr. Trump appears to be enjoying a small lead in Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, even though that lead has switched back and forth between the two candidates. At the outset, when you look at the national averages, 7 national averages, Kamala Harris has a lead, slender lead, 1.7%. But when it comes to swing states, 7, how many are there? 7 key swing states. Donald Trump has an edge, but it has been moving this side and that side. In 7 key swing states, which could end up having a decisive impact, they are going to make the impact on the outcome of voting in the Electoral College. Mr. Trump appears to be enjoying a small lead in Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, even though that lead has switched back and forth between the two candidates. Right now, Trump has in 3 states, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, Trump has the advantage. But it has been moving back and forth, means what? Sometimes in favor of Kamala Harris, sometimes in favor of Donald Trump. It has been going on that way. Coming to other swing states, in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, Ms. Harris has nosed slightly ahead of Mr. Trump, although now the advantage has slipped back to Mr. Trump in Pennsylvania, even if it is less than 1%. When it comes to states like Michigan, these are also swing states, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, Ms. Harris has slight lead, but although contrasting information, now the advantage has slipped back to Mr. Trump in Pennsylvania state. Even if it is less than 1%, it is in favor of Donald Trump in the state of Pennsylvania. Mr. Trump, even if it is less than 1%, in Nevada, it appears to be a dead heat, means very close, dead heat, something like neck to neck. Here you can say. Nevada is a mountain state. In Nevada, it appears to be a dead heat, though in each of these swing states, the lead is less than 3%. All these swing states, the lead is less than 3%, quite likely to lie well within the statistical margin of error. It could be within the range of statistical error. That's what the editorial says. That means very narrow, difficult to decide who is going to win. Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin were in the past blue states. Here, blue means Democrats, red means Republicans. So these 3 in the past, blue states, but Mr. Trump flipped them to Republicans in 2016. Trump brought them to Republicans. Later, what happened? Incumbent President Joe Biden, who is the president of the US, Joe Biden, incumbent President Joe Biden brought them back to the Democratic camp in 2020, a win that Ms. Harris would need to reprise if she is to emerge the victor. That lead Ms. Harris has to reprise means repeat something or repeat part of something. Here, part of something, those states. If she has to emerge the victor. The candidate that independent and undecided voters pick will determine whether the US continues with a socially and economically progressive agenda under Ms. Harris, or whether a more conservative approach that is aligned to the personality and whims of Mr. Trump and his ad hoc approach to domestic and foreign policy wins the day. Now, editorial after that statistical data talks about what are the approaches taken by Kamala Harris and taken by Donald Trump. Kamala Harris, if you look at Kamala Harris, rather positive. The candidate that independent and undecided voters pick will determine whether the US continues with a socially and economically progressive agenda under Ms. Harris, that is positive, or whether a more conservative, rather negative, approach that is aligned to the personality and whims of Mr. Trump. Aligned means related to. I'm going to talk about the same. You have to wait for a few minutes. Whims means a sudden idea or a sudden feeling not based on any reason, based on emotion. Here you have to recollect the idiom I have given many a time, whims and fancies. He always takes decisions based on whims, or whims and fancies means what? Based on emotions, not based on reasoning, not based on rationality. Not, okay. And his ad hoc approach, temporary approach to domestic and foreign policy wins the day. We have to wait and watch this policy or this policy wins the day, means who is going to emerge the victor. As president, Ms. Harris would oversee a broader role for government in regulating the economy, including by introducing tax cuts for the middle class and continuing the Biden plan for trade tariffs to boost US global competitiveness. If she becomes, she may do or focus on these things. Like what? As president, Ms. Harris would oversee a broader role for government in regulating the economy, one thing, including by introducing tax cuts for the middle class and continuing the Biden plan for trade tariffs to boost US global competitiveness. Now coming to the Mr. Trump, on the other hand, or continuation, she would also champion the effort to protect abortion rights through Congress, advocate for humane policing of the southern border alongside immigration reform, and ensure that Washington remains engaged with foreign allies to manage global conflicts. Not only that, now I cannot explain all those things. Let me continue with this. Who is this Jagdish? She would also champion the effort to protect abortion rights, one thing, through Congress, advocate for humane policing of the southern border. Here, humane policing means what? Human, humane. Humane means being kind, being compassionate. Policing of the southern border alongside immigration reform, and ensure that Washington remains engaged with foreign allies to manage conflicts. These are the priorities. She may focus on these. Coming to Mr. Trump's leadership paradigm would see. Paradigm means a typical example of something. That would see, if he is back, the government hand out corporate tax rate cuts and exempt social security benefits from income tax. Not only that, he would adopt a hawkish stand, an important word. Hawk. Hawk is a bird, looks like eagle. Hawk-eyed means sharp-eyed. You look at something with a sharp eye, that is hawk-eyed, we say. He would adopt a hawkish stand on immigration, including by accelerating deportations to possibly unprecedented levels. Mr. Trump talks about illegal immigrants in the US, and he does not hesitate to resort to deportation of those illegal immigrants in the US. And once he becomes a president, he may continue with the same approach or may continue the same stand. Not only that, internationally, global alliances may take a back seat. Donald Trump if he becomes the president, global alliances may take a back seat. Take a back seat means what? Not going to happen. You forget about something. Initially, you talk about that. After some time, you don't look at it and you think it is not that important. It does not come under priorities. Then we say back seat. It has, the new policy has not been launched. It has taken a back seat. They don't want to talk about that. You can also say eagle's eye. Naveen, very good. If it comes to pass, means there's a standstill, then it may take a back seat. Whichever candidate prevails, prevail has two different meanings. One meaning prevailing situation, prevailing conditions. What does it mean? Existing conditions, one meaning. And the other one, he prevailed upon someone, means he took the dominating position, to dominate, to be in a dominating position. In this context, the second meaning, not the meaning of prevailing, existing, not that meaning. Whichever candidate prevails on November 5th, voters have a unique opportunity. This you have to focus. A lot of students think an unique. No, you have to say a unique because it has a consonantal sound. Voters have a unique opportunity to shape the destiny of their country, at least for the next 4 years, because in the US, the tenure of the US president is not 5 years, it is only 4 years. So whoever candidate is going to win only for 4 years, so they have an opportunity to choose the right one. That's all about today's editorial. I hope you guys have got enriched. Have a nice day, have a nice weekend. I will see you guys on Monday with a regular format. Thank you very much.